Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Hillary Rodham Clinton, the Mayor of Rotterdam and Mrs. Paper, and our special guest, Mr. Gustav Cedé. Ladies and gentlemen, Bonita Ward and Casey Hughes will now present a text on the famous Harvard speech 50 years ago by General George C. Marshall.
Europe must have help.
On the 5th day of June, in the year 1947, a man who knew war spoke of peace. General of the Army, George Marshall. Secretary of State, George Marshall. Near the birthplace of America, in Massachusetts, he spoke of rebirth, the rebirth of Europe. He said,
"We must restore the confidence of the European people."
And standing in Memorial Church at Harvard University, he told the scholars,
"It is logical that the United States assist."
Appropriately, he spoke to this ancient, embattled continent.
The initiative, I think, must come from Europe. The role of this country should be support.
On the 18th of April, in 1775, a shot heard round the world was fired from Concord in Massachusetts. Nearby, on the 5th day of June, in 1947, words heard round the world were spoken from Harvard in Massachusetts.
With the willingness to face the vast responsibility history has placed upon our country, the difficulties can and will be overcome. Our policy is directed against hunger, poverty, desperation, chaos.
And so close to the birthplace of America, a secretary soldier talked of a plan. His plan for the rebirth of Europe.
The Marshall Plan.
Mr. President, Mrs. Clinton, Your Royal Highness, Mr. Prime Minister, Mrs. Koch, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. In 1992, the people of the Netherlands saw the newly nominated presidential candidate, Governor Bill Clinton, start on the campaign trail with that great song, "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." That moment had an important impact on me because it signaled a new beginning. An era that would be built on determination, hard work, optimism, and most important, on hope. After all, President Clinton actually comes from a small American city called Hope, Arkansas. And his message is, I still believe in a place called Hope. Today, we are gathered to celebrate a new beginning, an old friendship, and a common bond built on hope. President and Mrs. Clinton, 50 years ago, the city and port of Rotterdam lay in ruins, totally destroyed in a terrible war. Today, the port of Rotterdam is the largest in the world, and it has become Europe's most important gateway. The story of how the people of the Netherlands could accomplish so much is truly remarkable. But we couldn't have done it alone, and we couldn't have achieved so much without the help of the American people in and after the war. From 1948 to 1952, the Netherlands received, as you know, more than $1 billion of goods through the Marshall Plan. For that, we are also in this city, again, most grateful. In a short time, Mr. President, I will invite you to unveil the bronze portrait of General Marshall, a work of the leading Rotterdam artist, Willem Verbon. Our two countries have had a very long friendship. The Dutch played a critical role in settling the American colonies, and we were the first country to recognize the United States in 1776, 4 months after the Declaration of Independence. We in Rotterdam are also very proud of the notable role this city played in the founding of America. Just a short sail away from where we stand there is Delfshaven, the last port of Europe seen by the Pilgrim Fathers before they set off in 1620 to their unknown future across the ocean. The links go on. The first Dutch ambassador to the United States was a former mayor of Rotterdam with the name Peter Johan van Berkel. There is still hope for me. In 1795, the merchants of Rotterdam lent 1 million valuable Dutch guilders for the expansion of a city, a new city, Washington, D.C., your current home. In 1827, right here, the first steamship departed from Rotterdam with its passengers for America. Since then, more than 1 million people have taken this route to the New World. And every day, Mr. President, we still receive people from your country who are asking themselves the question, where do we come from? Who are we? Often, the only thing they know for sure is that their ancestors left from this very spot, from this pier here in Rotterdam. And every time our archives can answer the question about their roots, it gives us a kick. Today, Rotterdam has sister city relationship with Baltimore, Dallas, and Seattle, and enjoys trading links with America's great ports. While there may be a huge ocean between our countries, there are many bridges that bring us together. And the one common theme running throughout the history of our two nations is hope. So today, President Clinton, on this great occasion, we in Rotterdam are particularly honored to have you with us, a man from a place called Hope, a great son of America who inspires the world of today and tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, America. May I now pass the word to Mr. Sede.
Burgemeester Peper, mevrouw Peper, President Clinton, Mrs. Clinton, Koninklijke Hoogheid, meneer de minister-president. I am Guus Sede, a Dutch citizen. And earlier today, I had the distinct privilege of welcoming President Clinton to our country before an audience at the Binnenhof of distinguished leaders from all across Europe. This evening, it is my even greater honor to welcome him before the people of the Netherlands gathered here in the great port of Rotterdam. I grew up in the town of Nijmegen, which, like Rotterdam, was hit quite hard during the war, and which was liberated by brave American soldiers and rebuilt with assistance from the Marshall Plan. And so I've always been very grateful to America, and I'm very pleased to extend greetings to all of the American friends gathered here. In 1949, I visited the United States and saw firsthand what an interesting and special nation America was and is. I'm glad that all the American friends who are living in our country are having the chance to see what a great and special place Holland is. President Clinton is actually the second American president I've been honored to meet. As I was 16 years, I had the honor to shake hands with President Truman at the White House during a visit. In those 48 years that passed since, a lot has changed. I've gained weight and lost hair, but more significantly, we've seen how cooperation between the United States and the Netherlands, as well as with the rest of Europe, makes us all safer, stronger, and more prosperous. And as I mentioned in my remarks earlier today, Mr. President, while the Dutch are grateful to America for all it has done for us, we Dutch have a lot to offer to America too. And our friendship is only the beginning. And so, hartelijk welkom. We're glad you're here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Paper, to His Royal Highness the Prince of Orange, to Prime Minister and Mrs. Koch, to all of America's Dutch friends here and my fellow Americans who are here tonight, thank you for a wonderful, wonderful welcome. I thank Gustave Sede for his words. You know, this afternoon at The Hague, he spoke and introduced me and told the story of being a young boy growing up under the Marshall Plan. Tonight he spoke and spoke so well. Who knows, I may be remembered as the man who accompanied Gustave Sede to Rotterdam. He did not explain to you what he told us today, which is that as a young man he actually got to go to the United States because he won an essay contest. And each of the nations participating in the Marshall Plan picked a young person who won an essay contest to go and tour America and meet the president. He met President Truman on February the 4th, 1949. And I have secured a copy, an actual copy of the newspaper, the New York Herald Tribune, on that day. And I thought that I would give it to him as an expression of our gratitude for all of you and what you have meant in friendship to the United States. So here it is.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Mayor, thank you for your wonderful reference to my campaign and my presidency and my belief and hope and that we should never stop thinking about tomorrow. I think you'd be a wonderful ambassador to the United States. When President Truman met with the young visitors from the Marshall Plan nations years ago, he said he hoped that when they were as old as he was then, the world would know only democracy and peace. Well, today the world knows things other than democracy and peace, but we stand closer to that dream than at any point in human history. For the first time ever, more than half of the people on this earth live under governments of their own choosing. And here in Europe, the Marshall Plan that President Truman launched helped to rebuild a continent ravaged by war, gave strength to fragile democracies, and sparked unparalleled prosperity. Tonight, in honoring those remarkable accomplishments begun 50 years ago, our purpose must be to summon the spirit of the Marshall generation to create a structure of opportunity and freedom and security for the next 50 years and beyond. To give the young people here in this crowd tonight, throughout Europe and the rest of the world, as many as we can, the chance to grow up and live out their dreams. The generation we honor tonight fought and won a war, then built the institutions and understandings that prevented war's return. Now, closer to the start of a new century than to the end of the Cold War, our mission is to shape the peace they made possible, to reach for a long-sought yet never realized goal, a Europe that is undivided, democratic, and at peace for the first time in all history. America wishes to join in building a new Europe because Europe literally built America, and because our futures are bound together. No nation contributed to our building more than did yours. From this great pier, more than 1 million Dutch men and women started their journey to America. As the mayor said, after the first Dutch vessel arrived on our shores in 1609, it was just a decade later, from the tiny port of Delfshaven, that the Pilgrims set sail for Plymouth Rock, giving birth to the experiment that became the United States of America. The values of those early settlers became America's values: hard work and industry, individual freedom and tolerance, the willingness to take risks for boundless opportunity, a pride in country, and community that knows no bounds. Here in Rotterdam, those values faced their most terrible test 57 years ago when Nazi bombers rained fire on this city, killed 900 people, destroyed homes for 25,000 more, turned downtown Rotterdam into rubble, as we saw in the marvelous film. Even as your buildings burned, you kept your spirit going. The American people today know that the strength and courage of the Dutch resistance helped to conquer Hitler and ensured your ultimate recovery. And I am especially proud tonight that the Allied forces had a little help from a remarkable descendant of a Dutch farmer by the name of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Ever since the end of World War II, Rotterdam's sails have been turned to the wind. You rebuilt this city with daring modern architecture, a reflection of the daring and vision of your people. You transformed Rotterdam into the biggest and busiest port in the world. And when you did it, I might add, that you took that title of biggest port in the world away from a small trading outpost you stumbled upon 3.5 centuries earlier in the New World. It used to be called New Amsterdam, but we forgive you. We are proud that the Marshall Plan gave Rotterdam a new start. Through this port, most of the aid flowed to the rest of Europe. Today, the generosity of the Dutch people in your courage and your commitment to build a future better than the past, in all of this, the spirit of the Marshall Plan lives on. From Africa to Asia, you do not forget those who are hungry in this world, who yearn simply to put food on their table and clothes on their backs. From Bosnia to Haiti, your sons and daughters have kept the peace and helped people turn from conflict and hatred to cooperation and community. America could not hope for a closer ally or a better friend, and the world could not have a better example than this great nation, large beyond its numbers and landmass, in its influence and its power of example. Two centuries ago, our first ambassador to your nation and our second president, John Adams, said this: America has considered this nation as her first friend in Europe, whose history and the great character it exhibits in the various arts of peace have been studied, admired, and imitated by every state in our Union. Well, now, our Union and your nation have an opportunity to practice those arts of peace as surely as past generations stood together in World War and Cold War. Together we can complete the journey Marshall's generation began and bring all of Europe together, not by the force of arms, but by the possibilities of peace. Together we have it within our power to turn the hope we share into a history we will all be proud of. So to all of you, the people of Rotterdam and all the Netherlands, let me say that this celebration and its simple message, "Thank you, America," is a great gift to all of us. In turn, I bring you a message from the American people. For all that you have given to my country, for all that you give to the world, for the example you set that shines so far beyond your borders, America says, thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Great. Thank you very much. That's the thing to do. Can we do this? Come on over. Hillary, come on. No, you do it. And the mayor do it. Ready? You should help your husband. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3.
Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the